Hello everyone, I'm Jinyu. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today, let's continue the topic from last time and talk about the principles of diet that comply with the right time, place, and harmony with people. When we talk about diet, one focal point that comes to mind is the timing of meals. For instance, during the morning hours of Chen and Si, we concluded that a good breakfast should be based on two aspects: strengthening the spleen and stimulating the appetite, and promoting health and a sense of hunger. Additionally, we have raised a new question: what is the best breakfast to eat? Have you ever thought about it? Let's start with the Chinese character for 10 cross. Look at how it's written. In fact, Chinese characters all have roots. Once we grasp the root of each character, it's easy to understand the cultural connotations within. For example, moderation in food and drink. The first two characters are food and drink. What is the root of the character for food? Look at our character for real or actual. If you write it in the air with your hand, you might notice that the root at the bottom is general, which is the second hexagram in the Bagua and represents a mountain. Thus, we have an idiom describing food called mountain delicacies and seafood flavors. Friends who have watched A Bite of China will know that most high-quality ingredients and medicinal materials come from the ocean and deep mountains, especially in the four cardinal directions: southeast, northwest, southwest, and northeast. For instance, we often recommend to friends with weak spleens and stomachs to eat spleen-strengthening, dampness-removing, tea supplementing, and blood-nourishing foods, such as ginseng. Where does ginseng come from? The northeast, right? And other ingredients like ureal ferox seed, lotus seed, chops, tears, and Hericium aeruginosus, in fact, all come from all directions: from the soil, from the water, from the forests, and from the mountains. In other words, rely on the mountain to eat the mountain. Good mountains, good soil, and good water can grow good ingredients, including good medicinal materials. So, if you add a dot to the character general, what does it become? If you write it in your palm, does it become liang, which means good quality and excellent? So, high quality things can be called liang. Now look at the Chinese character with liang as the root. When we add a person on top, what does it become? It becomes food in moderation in food and drink, right? If you write it, you'll see the word food actually has multiple meanings. The first meaning, as a verb, is to eat. The second meaning is that in the Bagua, it also represents the earth, which corresponds to our spleen and stomach. So another meaning of food is that everyone needs to have a good digestive system. Next, let's look at the third layer of meaning for food: the high-quality ingredients from the mountains, waters, and forests that are grown or planted. From the analysis above, we can say that the maintenance of our physical body is basically solved by food. Let's think about it. Does that make sense? Now, let's look at the drink in moderation and food and drink. It's not hard to understand. The character for drink is written with a 10 radical on the left and a ankh on the right, which simply means that if the function of the food we eat is insufficient or lacks a certain part, we can use drinks to make up for it. Speaking of nourishment, in the Huani Naijing, the Yellow Emperor's classic of medicine, they used 4 words to define it: grains as nourishment. As we discussed in the last episode, seeds represent vitality, and grains are the best among seeds. There are 5 kinds of crops. For example, we often talk about diverse grains, but do you know what's in them? Next, I'll tell you that they include rice, wheat, barley, potatoes, and beans. Rice is our rice, wheat is flour, barley is actually millet, which is often planted in the north. The last one is vegetables, which refers to soybeans. So the concept of grain nourishment has been very popular in recent years, and even among diverse grains, we eat them according to our spleen and stomach conditions. For example, if the spleen is quite deficient and there are various problems, it's not suitable to eat coarse grains. I will slowly talk about these topics with you all. The purpose of learning wisdom is to understand subtraction and make choices. If you think everything is good and put everything in and eat everything, that's also wrong. You see, our traditional Chinese medicine prescriptions and dietary therapy recipes also need to be invented by people. Now, why do doctors prescribe dozens or even hundreds of ingredients? To put it simply, it's because they don't understand. When they don't understand, they think the best way is to use everything, and the more, the better. You see, those who don't know how to cook want to put all kinds of seasonings into the food. In fact, the higher level chefs are simpler when cooking. There is a classic saying in A Bite of China that the more high-end the ingredients, the simpler the cooking methods. To maximize the retention of the original taste of the food, when it comes to seasoning, it is also the simplest. The higher the sense of design, aesthetics, and even medical methods, food and electronic products, the more popular they are when they are simpler. You must know that there is a function in our digestive system called separating the clear from the turbid, which means that after the food enters the body, our digestive system needs to classify all the food before digesting it. If you eat a lot of things at once, are you sure your spleen and stomach can digest them? Will it overlook your digestion? After talking for a while, many fans may be impatient and say, "Teacher Lee, how should we eat breakfast in the end?" We start with the spleen and stomach. The spleen and stomach belong to the earth element in the 5 elements theory. Everyone knows that the standard for fertile land is certainly saturated with water and soil. So watering is naturally very important for good land. However, there is a big misunderstanding here. Many people have been following some so-called experts saying that they should drink a large cup of water every morning to clean the intestines. Let me ask everyone, have you heard of the term soil erosion? After getting up in the morning, we have been resting for about more than 10 hours, and the body must be short of water, no doubt. But as soon as we wake up in the morning, if you suddenly pour a lot of water down, I ask everyone, can your stomach stand it? The soil certainly needs water, but if you rinse it like this, I tell everyone that the soil will become thinner and thinner. The I Ching describes the soil as thick virtue carries all things, so the key to the soil is to maintain its thickness. In our Chinese culture, there is a term called seeking the same key. That is to say, when we irrigate our spleen and stomach without water, the best way is to do it in a way that seeks the same key, and to solve the problem of water shortage without damaging our spleen soil, and make our land more fertile. So the best choice is to drink a bowl of porridge or a bowl of paste every morning. The paste is to make the porridge particles finer, which is called paste. We personally feel that most people's intestines and stomach are now more mechanical. And even many people have a serious mechanism, which is the same as our land. Hard and dry land is like this. At this time, if you irrigate alone and the nourishment does not work, one is soil erosion. Let me give you a simple example. For those who have grown up in the countryside, after a heavy rain, the water can instantly wash away a lot of soil. But this water may not be able to penetrate deeper. After explaining this truth, I believe everyone will understand whether they should drink a large glass of water in the morning. So friends who have planted crops should understand its meaning. Porridge or paste has an advantage. In the process of cooking porridge, it actually loosens the rice. The paste is ground into powder with finer grains, softer and more fluffy. Then, I want to tell you that loosening is a special concept. We need to know that what we call twina. Acupuncture, cupping, scraping, and even yoga, tai chi, standing meditation, and other methods are ultimately to relax our body. When the body is relaxed, the mind is also relaxed. Since we talked about seeking the same key, it means that by cooking or grinding ingredients into powder, it is actually a process of loosening. This loosening can relax our spleen and stomach. The paste itself is saturated with water and soil or a unity of water and soil. So we often say, seeking the same key, the first conclusion is that in the morning, what should we eat? I suggest that for us Chinese stomachs, you should drink porridge or rice paste. It is very good for our body to replenish water, irrigate the spleen soil, and loosen the soil. So I tell you that these foods are the seeds of food which can nourish life. Many fans may have doubts saying, Teacher Lee, does that mean we just drink porridge for breakfast? Just have paste? Isn't the nutrition too single? I'm here to tell you that drinking porridge and eating paste simply means that in the morning, you should have a bowl of porridge or a bowl of paste in your stomach. After that, you can eat something else, such as bread, steamed buns, vegetables, which you can choose for yourself. What to eat for breakfast is actually very reasonable. I suggest that you drink a bowl of porridge or a bowl of paste, which is very good for the stomach. The breakfast I recommend for everyone with spleen nourishing and stomach nourishing ingredients, as I've said before, is the 10-dimensional breakfast paste or the 5-element breakfast paste, which is very good. You can put it in the porridge, in the milk, or cook it by itself, which is the best breakfast. Well, for the topic of breakfast, I'm talking to you today. If you have corresponding questions, you can also leave a message for me below the screen. Alright, I'll share this with you in this issue. Thank you for watching. And see you next time. If this program is helpful to you, please share it with more people. Let love be passed on and benefit more people. Goodbye.